finally found a fellow almost completely divine, but his vocabulary is killing this romance of mine. We get into an intimate situation, and then begins this Romeo's conversation. He says, murder, he says. Every time we kiss, he says, murder, he says. At a time like this, he says, murder, he says. Is that the language of love? He says, solid, he says. Takes me in his arms and says, solid, he says. Meaning all my charms, he says, solid, he says. Is that the language of love? He says, jig, jig, you torture me, zoo, we're living. I'm thinking of leaving him flat. He says, dig, dig, the jumps the old ticker is giving. Now he can talk plainer than that. He says, murder, he says. Every time we kiss, he says, murder, he says. Keep it up like this and that, murder, he says. In that impossible tone, we'll bring on nobody's murder but his own. He says, Jackson, he says. My name's Delphi. He says, Jackson, he says. Shoot the snoot for me, he says. Jackson, he says. Is that the language of love? He says, roof, roof, he says. When he likes my hat, he says, what the heck is that? He says, woo, woo, he says. Is that the language of love? He says, hep, hep with helium now, babe, we're cooking, and other expressions to it. He says, we're in the groove, and the groove is good looking. Sounds like his uppers don't fit. He says, murder, he says. Every time we kiss, he says, murder, he says. Keep it up like this and that, murder, he says. In that impossible